Good morning, everybody. Hi. Okay, so here we are today, and we're going to make some, we're going to work with some pumpkin because it's pumpkin season and make a pumpkin and potato dish. So we will start by cutting up our beautiful pumpkin, and these pumpkins came from Kirsty Allen at the Old Orchard Farm. And yeah, they've got the really nice pumpkins and all kinds of different squashes and things. And so hopefully I'm not making the camera shake here. The pumpkins are just a little bit hard to cut up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a pumpkin and a potato dish. But we're going to kind of pre-cook them a bit, and then just to get things going here, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So this will be what we want to do is we're going to sort of pre-cook them and then put them in the oven and roast them so that each one will take on their own particular flavor. But in order to not have to cook them for quite as long, I'm going to pre-cook in here. So yeah, so that's our plan for today. We're also going to work with some digestion and digestive. We're going to make a digestive elixir, which is going to be really helpful. Hey, Jeanette. Hi, good morning. How are you? That's nice to see you here. It's a happy Wednesday. So, yeah, so we're just going to cut these up. So the pumpkins, yeah, they're super, you know, I'm not a fan of pumpkin pie. I don't know why. I just don't really like the spice or the consistency of it. But I do like eggnog. And yesterday we made a really nice pumpkin latte that was super good. And I put nutmeg in it. So the nutmeg helped it to take on more of an eggnog taste, which makes me happier. And but anyway, pumpkins are super good for you. I'm just going to turn this up here. They're a source of vitamin A, and so really, really good for the eyes. They have lots of antioxidants in them. They have actually, I think what I might do is keep adding the potatoes before I add those onions, just for the for them to soften up a bit, and then we'll saute them afterwards. So yeah, so the pumpkins are really, really good for your eyes. They have lutein in them, which is an amazing thing to help with eye health in general. So it's an antioxidant that really helps with the eyes, and then something called zeaxanthins, I think they're called, and those are really good for the eyes too. Hey Monique, hi, how are you doing? I might just leave those a little bit chunkier because we want to roast these potatoes. So nice to see you here. Hey Jane, good morning. Hi everybody. So yeah, so we're gonna work with these potatoes and just get them just a little bit softened, and then we're gonna add some onions and saute them and all of that. So yeah, so back to the pumpkins. They also have yeah, it's really nice out today. They have potassium in them as well, so all kinds of really great things. And you know, potatoes really kind of get a bad rap too. Everybody thinks that potatoes are fattening, and they do have, you know, a starch in them, and mostly what's going on with potatoes is the stuff that people do to them, right? So all of the different additions. Hi Barb, good morning. How you doing? So yeah, so the potatoes themselves are full of vitamin C, right? So so with your pumpkins, you're getting your vitamin A. With your potatoes, you're getting your vitamin C. Is that one too big? No. And so you've also got, with your potatoes, you've got fiber, lots of fiber in both, which is super important to make sure that we're getting enough fiber, because I think that a lot of the a lot of the diets out there right now do not provide enough fiber. You know, they're depending on what diet you're working with, but if you're working with weight loss, a lot of people are going to, they're kind of going with a high protein, and it should really be, if it's going to be high protein, which, you know, I'm not a big fan of, then it should be high vegetable, like it should be higher vegetable than anything really in my mind. So, but anyways, definitely most of those diets don't provide enough fiber. And hey Darlene, hi, how you doing? Nice to see everybody here today. It is such a pretty day out there. And yeah, so so for sure your fiber is super important for you. The other thing that the pumpkins have is they have zinc in them, and zinc is so important right now for the for your health, like as far as colds and flus and viruses and things like that. Like vitamin C and your zinc is so important, and so that's really one of the things that you want to keep an eye on. And if you aren't getting enough vitamin C and zinc, that's super important. And then they're also saying to incorporate some quercetin in there as well. So the quercetin and yeah, the quercetin helps for the zinc to be absorbed in, and the vitamin C and the zinc work together. So super antiviral for that, and the vitamin A too, right? So your whole immune system, vitamin A is really vital to the immune system too. So you're getting your vitamin A in your pumpkins, and getting your vitamin C in your potatoes, and potatoes have something else too. I think it's folate. They have folate in them. But the fiber is really, really important. And hi Wendy, everybody's here. It's so exciting. So we're just going to, oh, I only half cut this up. We're just going to get these guys softened a little bit before we add the onions. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to end up roasting them. And so that's going to be really lovely, because it's always nice to have, you know, something warm. Like it's super sunny out there. I don't know how warm it is, but it's nice to have something warm and ready when you come in for the day, like for myself, if I'm coming in from the garden or whatever. Okay, so we're going to get these going. We don't need that one yet. I will cut up the onions while these guys are on high, because what I'm trying to do, I kind of want to steam them, get them a little bit cooked, and then add the onion. Usually I start with the onions, but this time I'm not. So I'm just going to wait on that. And then we might as well, we might as well work on the onion. Sometimes it's so hard to decide what it is to do, because there's so many fun things to do and so many millions of ways of cooking anything. I'm so not a professional cook at all. I'm a certified herbalist and natural health consultant. And I just share ways that I do things like cooking food and other things. But definitely when it comes to cooking, I just do it my way, and I'm so not professional with it. So we have a lot of fun here on Facebook Live, watching me attempt to do things that that are often an experiment and really fun. And so people will comment, and then they'll ask me to try different recipes or to show them different, you know, different methods in the way that I do things, or just in general, you know, experimenting with food, with healthy food. And so that's what we do, is I try new recipes, and I try to make all the mistakes so that you don't have to. And so, yeah, so we're really open to trying things and not worrying about how things turn out, because most of the time, even if things don't turn out, you can usually make them into soup. So that's handy. So nothing goes to waste. There's just so many different ways that you can change a recipe or switch it up, or, you know, if there's something that you don't like about it, then you can, there's lots of different things that you can do with it. So yeah, so that's sticking just a little bit, and I think it's just because of the starch of the potatoes. So I am going to put these onions in now. and get those things in there and get them going. And normally, like I usually always start my meals off with no oil. I usually just start with a pan with water and saute. So that's a lot of what I do because it's mostly working with vegetables. But in this case, we are going to add a little bit of olive oil because I don't want these to stick. And I also am going to be putting them in the oven and roasting them. And so we're going to have like that drizzly olive oil over top with some rosemary and garlic and things like that. So, but first, I just want to cook these guys down a little bit. But I should add a little oil now. A bit of olive oil. And, oh my gosh, okay, there we go. So that's going to steam those onions in. I don't want them too steamed down. And it does look like, depending on where they are, I guess, it looks like the pumpkin's cooking faster than the potatoes, which is kind of surprising to me. Or maybe not. Maybe it just depends on the size of the chunks. Of course, you know, the more uniform you cut everything, it will tend to cook down at the same rate. So I'm just trying to do 2 pieces of garlic at once, which isn't working very well for me. Okay, so smash down your garlic and get the peel right off here. And then we'll do another one. And do you need to add more water to this? I don't think so, because I want to get the oil in there. And so this is going to be really interesting because the pumpkins are really not that sweet. It's not like squash. And so it will take on more of the seasonings than, you know, than squash would. Okay, so I'm just going to actually turn this off now because I don't want it too cooked because we are going to put it in the oven. I just kind of wanted to, you know, pre-cook it a bit, or you know, kind of parboil, sort of, in a way, kind of that idea. And so we're going to add the garlic now. And of course, your garlic is so good for you. You know, you guys need to make sure that you have enough garlic on hand for this winter because it's antiviral, it's antifungal. You know, garlic is so important. If you don't have anything else in your house, make sure that you have garlic, because when we're entering this cold and flu and viral season, you know, just eating some raw garlic is going to protect you from colds and flus and all kinds of things. So really, really important to have some fresh garlic, you know, or at least powdered. Like I usually get the powdered garlic without, or sorry, the garlic granules is what I usually get, because I like that better. And it's just garlic granules. There's no salt in it or anything. It's not a garlic salt. It's a pure granulated garlic. And then I also buy a minced garlic. Speaking of which, I am going to add some of my granulated garlic here to, because I like a lot of garlic. Last week, I think it was last week, we made a dip. And it was like for veggies or whatever you want, you know, for chips or veggies or whatever you want to need a dip for. And I made it triple garlic, and people were like, oh my God, that's just way too much garlic. But I'm, you know, it's all what you're used to, and I am used to a lot of garlic, and I really love it, and it's so healthy for you. So the other thing we're going to add to this, we added the garlic, we're going to add, of course, you know, some Celtic sea salt. With that, since the garlic didn't have any salt, we're adding that. And this is a Celtic sea salt, so it's like mostly a mineral base. So it looks like I added a lot, but I really didn't, because this is more of an earthy mineral base, whereas your other sea salts, or even Himalayan sea salt, is a little bit saltier, so you would use less. But with the Celtic sea salt, you can actually use more. So we're going to add a little bit of rosemary here, and because I really like that. They used to sell a rosemary sea salt. Speaking of sea salt, they used to sell a rosemary sea salt bread, and where was that? I think it might have been at No Frills or Fairway. I can't remember it. Oh my God, it was just so to die for. It was so, so good. And I can't bite it anymore. So, okay, so we're going to add a little bit of that and to kind of mimic that taste that I love so much. And then, of course, your pepper. It's going to be really good. Add some pepper to this. One extra one. And I am going to add some cayenne because the cayenne is so good for you. And I love that spice. So the cayenne, of course, for everybody that's been watching these videos for a long time, you guys already know all this. I've probably trained you well. You've heard it so many times. But the cayenne is so good for your circulation, good for digestion, circulation. It's good for your heart. It's good if you have cold hands and feet. You can put it in hot water to increase your circulation and to keep your heart healthy. Put a little bit in some hot water and drink it. It opens up all the blood vessels. Super good to do that if you have headaches or migraines or anything like that. Yeah, I know. I think so too. You can never have enough garlic. Yeah, so the cayenne just opens up the blood vessels. Really good for headaches, migraines, circulation. Like if you have swelling in your feet or anything like that. So good for you. So basically that's that. And so what I will do is let it cool down. And when it cools down, then I'm going to drizzle just a little more olive oil over it to kind of keep it so that it doesn't all clump together when I put it in the oven. So when it's cold, I'll put the olive oil on and then just coat it a bit and then put it in the oven, spread out more into a casserole, or you could do it on a cookie sheet and just put it in until it starts to brown and soften up so that it gets that nice brown texture. So you guys can see a picture of that later on. Get my little colors here happening. I'm just looking at the colors that I missed. Okay, so that's that. The other thing we're going to do here is we're going to, people have been asking me to help them with different remedies and different, kind of like natural medicine for you. So, so we're going to do a digestive thing. Okay, so this is going to, I don't want to hit that handle there. This is going to be for digestion, and this is a recipe that I've used over and over again. It's actually really good. People tend to really like it. And this is one of my digestive formulas. When I do a formula for someone else, like a client, then I custom make that depending on whatever it is that they, whatever their needs are. And so this particular one is allspice, cardamom, ginger, cinnamon, fennel, rosemary, and coriander. And so we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it. So super simple. And so we have allspice here. So I have some organic allspice. And, the amounts really don't matter. It all depends on what your needs are. And so if you just want to make like a general mixture and kind of get used to it and see how you like it, then that's fine. If you have a specific health issue, then you might want to add more of one thing and less of another. But it all depends on what you have going on with your health. So that's the allspice. So like say if you were to add add some cayenne to this to help with digestion, which you can do. When you're working with cayenne or a lot of other herbs, like real medicinal herbs, you have to be careful that you're not interacting with other medications. So because if you're taking cayenne in a medicinal dose, which would be like a capsule or something like that, very concentrated, more than you would ever drink in one sitting, then that could interfere with blood pressure medications, blood thinners, anything like that, heart medications. So you wouldn't want to do that with cayenne specifically. Most of these are like cooking spices, and we're going to use such a tiny amount really for the amount of liquid that we're going to use that anyone's pretty much safe with this. But like I said, if you have specific needs, you might want to add more of one thing and less of another. Anyway, these are cloves, and I don't know what I was thinking when I put this much in here because that was way too many. So we have like a 1/2 ounce of allspice. we're just going to add a few cloves because cloves are quite strong. Okay, so half ounce of allspice and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 cloves. Not a half an ounce, that would be like so strong. We're going to add ginger, and the ginger is a circulatory herb, and it's really, really good for, obviously, most people know it's good for nausea, good for digestion. It is also very antiviral, and so we're going to add a good amount of the ginger because it really does help you digest, and it's very antiviral. And so I'm going to guess on a tablespoon of the ginger. I really like ginger. So again, go to taste. Go as well as to taste. If you like ginger, add more. If you don't, add less or none. But it really is helpful for the digestion and for keeping that, just keeping the energy down. And it also opens up all the blood vessels to the lower extremities too. Ginger's a down herb. It works down and then comes up for us circulation, whereas cayenne starts working up and then moves down for circulation. So you have your ginger here, and we're going to, just because it's a digestive, and it kind of adds a really cool flavor to this, we're going to add a little bit of coriander. This is a whole coriander, and so again, about a half an ounce. And the coriander is good for digestion, but it also just lends a really beautiful flavor, kind of like the Indian cooking. And we're going to add cinnamon. So the cinnamon here too is, I'm going to use cinnamon sticks. You can use cinnamon powder, which I have here too. Whatever you have. Just, cinnamon also is a super antiviral. The studies that they've been working with this particular virus that's going on right now, the research has shown that cinnamon's really effective on this at protecting your immune system for this particular virus that's going on. So cinnamon's really important to have in your diet every day. But excuse me, I'm getting cinnamon in my throat. This is really to add to like lattes and stuff, so there's not very much coming out. So I'm going to stick with the sticks, but if you want to go for a teaspoon or a tablespoon, again, to your taste. If you love cinnamon, add lots. And so you can make this kind of, lean towards whatever your taste buds want. The other thing is super good digestive is cardamom, which is really good. That's the spice, the main spice that you taste when you have chai tea. So you want to have I love cardamom. It's just so good. So I'm going to go for a whole ounce because I really, really like it. And so that's going to, slant the flavors this way. And so each of these are digestives. And what we're doing is we're making a herbal elixir. Actually, in this case, it's more of a spice elixir more than a herbal elixir, even though some are herbs. And that's going to help with your digestion. So, they used to do that in the old days. They would take a little sip of brandy or whatever before dinner, and especially after dinner to help digest. But they would add all of these things. And you can buy Swedish bitters. You can buy bitters to help you digest, but the bitters are more for before you eat. So the bitters kind of prepare your stomach. They used to, when they would eat things like dandelion greens or have your salad before your meal, because those bitters will help to start the digestive acids and all the other things, digestive enzymes and everything, to prepare your stomachs to send out all the things to help digest the food. And so that was kind of like your bitters. You can do bitters after your meal too, but these are more to warm the stomach and facilitate the digestion and take away that heavy feeling. Certain ones will help, like if you just in general have indigestion, it will help with that. So see how it works for you and kind of adjust this to your taste and also how you find it working. What I am going to add also is just a little, because it's quite strong, but I really like the antiviral properties of the rosemary. And so rosemary is very antiviral, but it's also very strong tasting. But it has that almost like, you know, like how the pine needles are that evergreen eucalyptusy kind of green hint to it. So and of course, you know, most people know that you can add that you can take mint for digestion too. That helps you digest, but I find it doesn't work as strong or as well as these unless it's super concentrated. You could add mint leaves to this if you wanted to, but I would add quite a few because it's just not as concentrated, I find anyway. The other thing quite common to help with digestion is fennel, and so your fennel seeds. Again, I'm not too much of a fan of licoricey things. So I'm not going to add too much, but it is so good for digestion. And that's why they give you the little fennel seeds when you go, especially to an Indian restaurant, they'll give you fennel seeds, and that's to help you digest so that you feel good when you leave the restaurant and you're like not heavy and yucky feeling. And the other thing that you could use that's not usually in everybody's cupboard is star anise, which is really lovely. It's more of a lighter licoricey flavor. You know, fennel's lighter too, but it still has a bit of that. But it's light, you know, it's not super licoricey. So yeah, so whatever you have in your cupboard of these kinds of things, throw them in there, you know. So I can put the list on my Facebook, although I'm not very good at putting the actual recipes on. I do so many, like doing this every day. It would be like to write the recipe for each thing. That's like you guys' job, not mine. Somebody can figure all that out and write down the recipes. Some of them I do. If you want real recipes with real ingredients lists and everything, you can go to my YouTube channel. There's like, I don't know, 150 or 200 videos on there, 15-minute meals that are really healthy and that I did attempt to do an actual recipe with. The Facebook Live is more of a sharing information and just a really fun get-together every morning. So, okay, so this is our digestive formula for anybody that came on and doesn't know what's going on here. And so to this, we will add whatever alcohol you have, because the alcohol is, you know, basically we're creating a tincture. And so what that is the alcohol draws out the medicine. Typically when you're making a tincture, it's with herbs, you know, or roots or stems or leaves or flowers or whatever. And so when you add the alcohol, it draws out that all the medicinal qualities of the plants or the roots or the spices in this case. And so we're adding the alcohol, and then we let that sit, you know, preferably in a warm place, but you need to let it sit. There's a lot of controversy on how long. The typical waiting period is like 10 days to 2 weeks. I like to just leave it for, you know, the longer it lasts. I have found it does get stronger, but that does depend on the herbs or the spices that you're using, because some will release their qualities, their medicinal qualities quicker, and some will be slower in releasing their qualities. And some herbs require a less volume of alcohol, and some require a higher volume of alcohol to extract that. Some herbs require water to extract, and so that's why we I don't generally use like 100 proof 100% alcohol, because I usually use a combination of herbs, and the majority of them want a higher alcohol content. But for those of them that need water to extract, it's good to have water in that volume too. So, right. So what we're using today, we're going to use a brandy. Now, because we're drinking this as a, something that we want to taste for flavor. Now, if I was making a herbal tincture for medicine, I always use vodka, because I want the taste and the flavor of those herbs. I want to know that it's ready when I can't taste any vodka. When all I can taste is the herbs, then I know it's ready. And everything's been extracted. And so, but in this particular case for you guys, if I put vodka in this, you're not really going to be crazy about it. Because it's just going to taste like the herbs and spices, which might work, but it would take a long time for it to really taste yummy. So in this case, we are going to add a bit of brandy. And then if you want to, you can, like you're going to leave this for 10 days to 2 weeks. And then, you know, and you want to just extract, right? And you can add the whole thing if you want. This is enough to extract, actually that's enough herb in there to extract this whole bottle of brandy, and have it be quite herbally strong. But I'm not going to do that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do with half with brandy. I'm going to let that pull all the medicine out, and then I'm going to drop it back down after it's finished with distilled water. Okay, so that it doesn't have as high of an alcohol content. Unless you want super high straight up brandy with, you know, beautiful herbs, you're welcome to do that too, and it works just fine. It's actually quite awesome. I've done that. But for the majority of people, may not want that strong of elixir, unless if you're taking this after dinner, then you probably don't care. But some people are more sensitive to alcohol, so completely up to you. But just do straight alcohol until everything's extracted, and then you can dilute to whatever makes you happy. The other thing you can do when this is finished is to, when you're adding your if you're adding water or anything to it, it has to be distilled, right? So that nothing, you know, goes sideways or grows bacteria. You can then add some sweetener. So you can add maple syrup, you can add some honey, so it tastes good. So it tastes like, you know, a lovely either before or dinner after drink. A lovely before or after dinner drink. Oh my God, okay. And so you can do that too. So you can sweeten it to taste, and then it's just a lovely liqueur, really. That's very medicinal. So yeah, so that's the that is easily done with things from your cupboard. If you only have a couple things, if you only have cinnamon and allspice, then use that. If you have fennel, you know, whatever it is that you have. If you may not have cardamom, not everybody does. So whatever you have, cinnamon, ginger, fennel, whatever you have, and whatever you like for taste too, because if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to drink it. And so it's important to consider your own taste as well as the healing properties. So there you go. So there is the digestive. I'm going to leave this for 2 weeks and then come back and taste it. And if the alcohol is very strong, I'll probably dilute it down a bit. You wouldn't dilute more than 50% though. That's important to note, because you have to have enough alcohol content for it to not grow bacteria. So I like a 50-50 myself, 50% alcohol, 50% water. And then when you take into consideration that this brandy is 40%, you don't want to drop it. You're going to take into consideration that there's 60% of the 60% water, right? So if I go 50-50, I feel safe with that. Some people, okay, I'm getting too heavy into it, but some people go down to 20% alcohol volume, and I don't really feel like a newbie should be doing that, because you don't want to ruin your beautiful, lovely spices or liquor. So if you want, just leave it straight up. If that works for you, add a little bit of sweetener. And so anyway, that is your digestive tonic from your kitchen. So that's it. Everybody, I've been talking to so many people with antacid issues and digestive issues that I have been asked to come up with a formula that you can easily make on your own. Okay, that's it. It's a beautiful day out there. Go out and enjoy it, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow morning at 11. Check out my Instagram and my YouTube channel, and subscribe.